Hi guys, Legendary Talks here with Legendary Damon. We have a very amazing guest tonight, MJ Rodriguez, a good friend of mine. I can't wait to chat with her. What's up, D? First one. Very excited to chat with her. We're great friends and just excited to celebrate her and, all. She's a very special young lady and really excited. How you guys doing today? How you feeling? This is Legendary Talks. Hey TK. Every night I interview just interesting, cool. Hey Sydney. Interesting, cool people about culture. Basically, celebrating these important people to culture, whether they be very well known or no one knows them. Tomorrow, I'm very excited as well. I have Andre Simone, who is this legendary musician. He grew up with Prince. He's from Minneapolis, and I am extremely excited to chat with him as well. And then next week we have a very good lineup as well. Hey Ati, hey Sydney. What's up, Pose T? Hey Natasha. Thanks for joining, guys. Is that Daryl Gibson? I thought this was past your bedtime, Daryl. MJ is joining us now. Waiting for MJ.
Hey, everybody.
Are you on the guest list? What'd you say your name was? Rodriguez?
Yes.
Do I see it? Did you RSVP? Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. Please enter. How are you, my darling?
I'm doing good. You look amazing.
Thank you. You too. You look great. Great to see you.
I mean, it's just, it's a given.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Thank you for doing this. I know that you've done 1.5 million of these. That's why I waited long to ask you. I know you're doing like 10,000 a week, so I waited. I thought when it was the right time, I'd ask. So
it's a couple of these that haven't voted for you. Always. Period.
Thank you, and vice versa for you too. But you want to hear something really crazy and very us. So you know how Instagram shows you the memory of last year or 2 years ago? So 2 years ago today, guess what happened?
What happened?
Guess who I met 2 years ago today?
I think
you. Yes, isn't that crazy? I got the memory thing last night, the notification. I was like, it's so crazy. We met literally 2 years ago on this day.
Yeah, literally.
But we've been very since we met. Do you want me to tell the story of how we met?
I mean, it's up to you. I remember as well.
You go first, and then you go first.
So I remember the day I was invited to Janelle Monáe's concert. And I remember seeing this lovely man standing next to me. It was me and my best friend, Rayvon Middlebrooks, from high school. 15
Shout out to Rayvon.
And, right, shout out to Rayvon. And I remember just looking over to the side, and I was like, oh my God, Rayvon, who is this man? He's like, I don't know, but he looked good. I was like, he got this whole red suit on. He got this chain of gold keys. Like, it was everything. Everything was just to the max and just perfectly precise. And I was just living for it. And then I just remember you coming up to me and saying, are you coming to the party? And I was like, yeah, I'm coming to the party. I'm coming to the party. And then after that, the rest was history. We went to this after party that was amazing. And we just lived our lives. I vogued out on the floor. We did this whole video together outside with
Margie.
Yeah, with Margie. And we just lived our lives. We did Kiki. It was Drake's Kiki. It was just everything. And that was the first time we met. And it was the best explosive kind of meeting that I could have ever had.
No, it's true. That's a great rendition. I thought I was going to have to chime in and say different things. The only thing that I'll say is I turned to you, and I just started watching Pose. It was the third episode I had seen or something, and you were sitting next to me, and I was like, oh, hey. I said, I didn't say, are you coming to the party? I said, you're coming to the party. That's the only difference.
He did. He demanded. He did not ask. He demanded.
I did not ask. I told.
Right.
And then you came, and you were acting all coy, and then all of a sudden, after 20 minutes, you start voguing, and, literally the rest is history. And we've been clicked ever since then. We've been inseparable since that day.
It's very, 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 very true.
Okay, so I do this talk every night. I don't know if, you've seen a few of them. And basically, I thank you, by the way. I celebrate people that are important to culture. Like I said, whether they're very well known or not known at all doesn't matter to me. It's that they're important to culture and that they need to be celebrated. And also, you know, a lot of times, like you and I had that story when we met, we tell back and forth to each other, but I want to share these stories with other people. You know, it's important.
Right.
But I do have a couple of questions for you that I don't know,
Okay.
or, you know, a couple of things. So you're from New Jersey, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what were some of the influences as a child that New Jersey had on you?
Oh, I mean, well, one of the biggest ones was Whitney Houston. I remember just growing up on a lot of Whitney Houston. My mom used to play her a lot, along with Shaka Khan and all the greats, you know, back then, some singing fools. And she was one of the inspirations outside of my LGBTQAI community that I looked up to actually avidly, because at that point I didn't really have, you know, a woman of my walking in journey to look up to. I was just surrounded by just a whole bunch of beautiful people. But Whitney Houston, being from Newark, New Jersey, hailing from Newark, New Jersey, you know, moving through the world of Hollywood, moving through the world of the music industry, I looked up to that. I saw that, and just to see that she hailed from Newark, it made me really happy. And then as the years went on, Tisha Campbell, who I love and is now a completely close friend of mine now, Michael B. Jordan, all of these inspirations from Newark really, really coaxed me. And I wasn't, at this time, it was just like throughout the whole walk of my life, from childhood through high school, all the way through college.
That's amazing. So what's the first song you think you really resonated with ever in life?
Ooh, the first song, okay, so I know you know this one, Damon. It was originally by Gloria Gaynor, not I Will Survive, but it was Killing Me Softly.
Okay.
And I used to sing that in auditions all the time, do Lauryn Hill's riffs all the time. And I remember my teacher, who is my godfather also, he was like, you're not going to get nowhere singing the same audition song every single day. You got to change it up, you know? And I was like, oh. But it was the song that really resonated with me most. I don't know if it was the lyrics because I was too young.
Yeah.
I think it was just the music. I was a music head. I still am a music head. And it was just the music that really got me. And I just started singing it like crazy.
What movie do you think kind of influenced your childhood?
When you say like influenced my childhood, like in what?
Well, the one that you like, you know, it doesn't have to be related to, the one that you kind of were so drawn to and kind of influenced you, I guess, made you, you know, who you are as an adult in a lot of ways, you know?
Oh, ooh. Damn it, I don't know, actually. I mean, I've watched a couple of movies that I'm just like...
You know, like, for instance, Purple Rain, the movie Purple Rain was very influential to me personally. So if there's not a movie, it doesn't have to be, but was there something in your, you know, before teenage years, like that was either TV show or movie that was so influential?
Oh, 5 Heartbeats.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard, you know about 5 Heartbeats?
Of course.
It was literally, I remember... Do you remember the scene with this girl? She was in the room with the lead character, and they were in the room together, and they sang the song "No Matter How Hard It Gets." At that time, I wasn't even. I had moved out of Newark, and I went to Jackson, New Jersey, like far outside of Newark, far outside of the urban area, and came into the suburbs for a good period of my life. But it was in my childhood, and to be quite honest, I was spaced out from a lot of people of color at the time, and the only people of color were my next door neighbor, and I think that was it. It was us on the corner house, and it was our next door neighbor. And I remember my cousin Renee just playing 5 Heartbeats and us singing that song together, and that was like outside of where home was. I mean, obviously we created home there in Jackson, New Jersey, but outside of home, moving outside of home, that was the only place I found like solace in, to see what community looked like within the African-American community. You know what I mean? And I looked at that movie a lot. Like it was on repeat. Aside from Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson is my everything.
Listen, sounds like you need some color in your life at that time. You need to be around people of color, so you were watching that movie as like, you know, you're in a white neighborhood. And then who, again, kind of like, I think I would say before teenage years, I think those are really telling years of who people will be as the creative adults that they are. You know, like once you're a teenager, then everything kind of switches. But were you really influenced by as a young person, whether it be, you know, like Whitney Houston, like you said, or a family member, or who do you think you kind of looked up to or was really influential on you during those years?
Oh, I mean, you know who that is.
Yeah,
Miss
listen.
Audrey. Miss
Listen.
Audrey. She's like,
So,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
Go.
She's like the epitome of like strength and womanhood.
Yes.
And I just like looked to that always. And I led by her example. Like she gave me an example to lead by.
Yep.
And if y'all don't know who Miss Audrey is, my mother, y'all. You know, she's the queen.
Mama MJ. So yeah, I assumed you would say that, but she's such an amazing woman that needs to be celebrated. I should have her on here one night because we met also, her and I met and clicked like that, and we talk separately from you all the time. Her and I are very close friends, as you know. And she's such a, like you're saying, a pillar of strength, but she don't play. She don't play at all. I mean,
she surely
and
does not.
she likes what she likes, but she's just, and to be honest, so she started coming, so y'all came to my parties, and then she started coming to parties without you, and all my friends, she's friends with all my friends now, you mean? So, she's actually, listen, the reality is, she likes to go out more than you, she's more wild than you are, more fun than you are. You like, listen, you an old lady, she's the young one, you mean?
It's true, I'm always usually in my house, I'm either working at home, making sure things are happening, you know, or I'm either just being a hermit in my own little house. I mean, like, I am very outgoing when the button is pressed, and I can, like, you know, go out and have fun, but when I do want to become a little bit to myself, I choose to because I think it's important. You know what I mean?
You are a bit of a homebody. That's what I would say.
Word, I'll take that.
Well, the thing is, you know, you to me, you're a sensitive artist. Like you like to be at home and kind of feel things and do all that. Where I like to go out. So I, you know, like come out, and you're like, and you'll come out, you know, but you don't really want to. I know you don't. I'm like, I appreciate the effort. I mean, thank you, you know. But your mother, on the other hand,
I'm a little tired.
I know.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, but your mother, on the other hand, will come out and stay out all night.
She surely will, and she'll dance the night away too, would you?
Huh?
She'll dance the night away with you too.
Oh yeah. That's how we first bonded because So quickly, let me tell this story quickly.
Yes,
we met, and then at a dinner, you brought her to a dinner that I was doing, and then the next night, Indy had a party, and I walked in and saw your mom was the first person I saw.
Right.
And I just assumed you were there. Like, I didn't think, you know. And so I was in the front talking for a while, and I was talking to her for 15 minutes. Like, where's MJ? She's like, MJ's not here. I'm like, oh, snap, you're here without MJ. And then I was going to Swiss Beats party, and I said, do you want to come with us? I don't know. Someone's mom. You know, I didn't really know her that well. And she goes, yeah, I'll go. As soon as she got there, she hit the dance floor by herself. I'm like, oh, she's cool. She can hang. And ever since then, she's been coming out. So.
Surely did.
But shout out to her. She's an amazing person. I think you guys have such a special relationship, and she raised such a confident, amazing woman that you are today. You know, it's all based off of her, you know, instilling these great values in you too. So really, shout out to her.
Thank you. I mean, also I would say like I gotta give a shout out to my dad too. He was not absent at all. Like I have two strong. I mean, I don't know if anybody has seen on my page. But I have two strong, very, very strong men of color in my life. My father being a Puerto Rican and black man, and my stepfather being a black man. And so these men have been very, very instrumental in my life. They taught me a lot. I don't want anyone to ever think that those two are not instrumental because they are. They just like, you know, they ride hard for me, but in secret so that nobody comes to me.
Yeah, good. Well, no, but the finished product is a confident, successful adult. See what I'm saying? So you can tell. I mean, actually, that makes sense to me. So, and a well-rounded, and you're just a all-around well-rounded, great person. So that all makes sense to me. Okay, so I want to talk about pose. So, how I was thinking today. I was thinking about you. I was like, how did that even come about? I don't even know how that happened. Did you audition, or what was that? What was the whole initial pose situation?
Okay, so I was doing this show. It was actually literally close to the piers at this theater called the Little Ohio, and it was literally a show surrounded by what the life was like, around the times at the piers. And I was in the show with this woman named Cece Swazo. And I remember her saying her and Ryan Murphy actually had a day together, but I think it was they saw each other just randomly, and you know, she mentioned that there was a show happening, and it just happened like that. You know, it was like a cosmic cataclysmic thing that happened, and it like exploded wonderfully. And she came to me, I think like 3 days later while still doing the show, and she said, MJ, girl, you need to go audition for the show. They're coming out with this show. And I said, child, I think my agent put me in for it already, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen. But I'll you know, put in for it again, you know. And so I did. I personally put in for it after I think my agents had probably put me in already, but I didn't know, you know, specifically. So I just literally put myself in for it by myself. And I mean, FX let me know, oh, don't worry, we've seen you, you've been submitted. We'll hopefully get in contact with you. And then about 2 or 3 days later, I think so, I can't really remember, but I think about 2 or 3 days later, I got an audition call, and it was like one camera, this one girl behind the camera, me sitting down. It was like a regular, like, you know, traditional audition. And I went in and I saw some of my girls there. I saw Jari. I don't know if you know this woman named Jari. She just did a movie. Lena Bloom. She was in the audition room as well. And I remember going in.
Were they auditioning for Blanca?
They were auditioning. I think so. I mean, I think everybody came in for Blanca or either one of the girls. And I was like, oh, damn it, I ain't got no chance, child. Oh, okay, all right. I'm just gonna go in here and do what I can do, you know, swindle up some of my acting chops that I've learned from back in the day, you know, for years, and see what happens, you know, because this is the real deal.
Yeah.
Went in there, then literally 2 weeks went by. Within that 2 weeks, I got an audition call, a final callback for Once on This Island on Broadway. And they wanted me to play Papa Gay. They wanted me to be the first trans woman to play Papa Gay.
Wow.
And I was really excited for that because I was like, you know what? This is going to be amazing. You know, I finally get to dissect something. People don't get to tie Papa Gay to just this male exterior. Instead, you see the God. You don't see just the gender of this character. And then right when that happened, Pose came. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most hardest decision I could ever make. Because I really, that was going to be my first debut on Broadway. And then I had this big opportunity for television and film. And my dream had always been to be on television and film and also work on my music, which I'm very happy because I'm doing both of those things now, which is hard as hell, but like it's happening. And I remember Ryan Murphy calling me literally the night in between me choosing. He called me one of those nights and said, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm watching Rihanna's Wild Thoughts. You know, I didn't know what to say.
You're like smoking a blunt.
I didn't know what to say. And I was just so gagged because Ryan Murphy had called me on the phone, and I had been watching his work for so long. I had been, and I still love his work till this day. Like,
yeah, makes sense.
And I just literally was like, oh my God, he's calling me on the phone. And he's literally calling me to let me know you're secure, like the part is yours. And at that moment, I was like, oh my God, this work that I had put into it, like the hope that I almost didn't have because I was working so hard, working so many years, trying to get into the scene, trying to really let people see my acting and not just judge me by being, oh, the trans woman who does this and that. You know, I didn't want that to be the focal point of everything. I wanted people to see my art and my craft, and he saw that. So that happened. I went in for a testing, and then the rest was history. Blanca came to full life.
I never did that. Yeah, I was really curious. I didn't know how that all happened. Well, okay, so let's talk about Blanca for a second. You know, what about, I mean, what do you think about Blanca that people love so much? What is it?
I think what people love about Blanca so much is that she is really, she's persistent, and more so than anything from what and you know, it's funny, I used to have a hard time watching that show. I couldn't look at myself because I would judge myself, and then I had time to really just like take myself out of it, humble myself a bit, because it's like you don't watch yourself to watch you watch it for the art. And that's what everyone else is watching. So do that for yourself. You
don't watch like from a vain eyes. You watch from like, you know, your soul, watching your soul more than your exterior.
Exactly. Granted, I don't think I was being vain, but still. But like, I feel like.
Well, it's a human condition.
It's a human thing. And I was literally like, I need to watch this. And I watched it, and I was just like, oh my God, Blanca is a winner. She gets through it every single time, no matter how many times what others would consider a failure. She never saw it that way. She was
Great.
somebody who chose to win, and her reward was life. And I saw that in the writing when Stephen Canals and all of them were writing second season, and giving people a glimpse of what her life could look like when death is knocking at her door, but how hard she fought to make sure that her reward was living. And I
Oh,
think that was the thing that I think that's what people love about Blanca, is that she's a winner. She chooses to win instead of lose. And the only time she may feel like she loses out is maybe if she left this earth, but that's not happening anytime soon. So like, she is someone who is a fighter. And I think
yep.
people love that. And I think they get a lot of angst to be a fighter as well. And I hope they are too within this time, watching it and seeing the protest on that television show and seeing how it's happening now and do the things that she is doing. Because a lot of women like myself back in the day were doing that. So yeah, I think that's what people love about Miss Blanca. And I love the work.
Well, that's perfectly said, that she, the reward of her fighting is that she's like, is life. It's so beautiful. I mean, she gets to live. And it's interesting because out of all the cast, I think that you are the most similar to your character. You're not, you're not obviously, like her. You are like her in many ways, but you're not in many ways. But to me, you're more similar to your character than some of the other cast members, I think. So it's interesting to me. You have the same warmth and something about, Blanca's very warm. Something about her is very warm and inviting, which you are as well. What's your favorite scene or episode?
All of them. It's like, now,
listen, mine too. I like the one that I'm in. I'm kidding. I'm not in one.
Like, you're there. In spirit, come on here. I think my favorite scene was, Damon, you really posed me with a hard question, because there's so many.
Or one that was fun. Maybe one was fun to make. Whatever. Like.
Okay, my favorite scene is with all the girls going on the girl trip. Like that whole episode to me was like the highlight of everything, because I always want, aside from people seeing just Blanca or just Angel or just Electra or just Lulu or Candy, I wanted them to see us collectively as a group of strong women taking time from a world that is insane and taking time for ourselves because we deserved it. And looking at that and just being able to, and not to mention, like, I mean, yeah, we were all playing our characters, but that was also a mini vacation for us too, because we work really hard.
Where'd you shoot it?
I can't remember where
Hamptons?
we shot it. No, I can't remember where we shot it. It was somewhere nice though. I know that.
You're like, I liked it.
It was somewhere beautiful. Somewhere I wish I could be.
And then remember, we showed it, because I do a weekly post viewing party when it's airing, and we showed it in New York, and you got to see it for the first time ever in that setting. That's the episode I showed when you were there, and I was watching you watching it, because I had showed the whole second season at a big kind of viewing parties every week, and they were fabulous and great, and but you had never been, and you said you'd never seen it in that setting, which people get so into it. People are yelling back, you let them know, girl, you better do that kind of stuff, and it was really great to see you watch it in that setting. So with your mom.
Right, because listen, she's always down to travel, but like, being in that space, you always facilitate a space that's really, really comforting, and it's a lot of people that are in your circle that are really, really, really beautiful, and it was just great to sit there. You're welcome. And it was great to sit there, just you was doing your thing because you were a busy man, you make it happen, and just sitting there and watching everybody just like really be enthralled in it the way I was enthralled in it. Like, it just felt really, really good. And it's
always a warm room in general, so.
It was.
And then one last question, we'll move on because I'm going to talk about this stuff. How has Blanca changed MJ?
I think Blanca has changed MJ in various ways, but the most important one is just teaching me, because I'm not a mother yet. You know what I mean? I play a house mother, but I'm not a mother just yet. I mean, I am a television mother to the many beautiful supporters that are out there, but I don't have kids yet, and I think that's the thing that me and Blanca we don't share, and I've learned from her how to do it, how to or do it even better, you know, or become a great mother. I mean, yes, I've had the wonderful inspiration from my mother herself, but just having a character that was written and knowing that I'm fulfilling the shoes of that character, she's taught me a lot how to really foster the lives of children or foster the lives of anyone who just wants to be welcome. So that's one thing that I'm learning. So when I have my kids down the line, I'll be able to, you know, do the right
Well,
thing.
that's one of my favorite things about Blanca too. Her strength, her like motherly, but she's also really strong. You know, she's tough on them.
She really is.
Okay, when is the first time you saw Paris is Burning?
Oh my God, the first time I saw Paris is Burning when I was about 12 years old, I think.
And what was your kind of initial thoughts on it as opposed to like, you know, as an adult with like a different set of eyes? You mean?
So as a kid when I saw it, I mean, I was a rambunctious kid. I was a kid who lived out of the box. I was a kid who what many would consider different, but was never really different. It's just that I always say, as much as the world didn't think I was ready for them, in reality, they weren't ready for me. Like they weren't ready for the reality that I was going to bring into the spectrum of what people considered normal. And when
preach, girl, preach. You know, like
on here, and when I was watching it when I was younger, I just saw a whole bunch of beautiful people. I just saw a whole bunch of people like me. You know, those two little boys that were on the screen. Granted, I never identified as that at 12 either, but I still saw myself in those kids because I was a child, and I was a child that lived freely. I wasn't a child that was held captive. Like those kids were not held captive. They were free. Unfortunately, they were displaced from their homes because they could still have been free within their home. But I still saw myself. So I saw so many of those individuals like myself, and many who I've watched. I just lived. I lived for it. My whole idea of that life and my life and our life was true. And we were just normal people living freely. And there were a lot of people that didn't like that. So they tried to create a box around it. As an adult, I watched it in depth. Actually, not as an adult, because I saw Paris is Burning a lot. I didn't just see it at 12. I saw it at 12. I saw it at 14. I saw it at 15. I saw it at 16, 17. Went to college, and then afterwards watched it again at 20, 21. Like, watching and seeing how my mind evolved with watching it, I saw that our life, as much as me growing up in a world that is insanely crazy, I realized my life was no different from theirs either. You know, outside of my home, outside of my living quarters, where I felt like I was protected and safe. When I would walk outside of the house, I would experience some of the same things that those individuals experience. Why? Because that was me. So I started learning those things, and that really started making me develop a voice for myself. Even down the line when I hadn't seen it, you know, there was a moment where I hadn't watched it for a long time because I was doing rent. I was really busy. I was trying to make sure that I could really structure myself to change the world the way I wanted to. And I used that movie itself as a pedestal to make sure that I did the right thing. But as I got older, I started realizing that this was something that was no different from what had been happening at that moment at 17, and also what's happening now at, you know, an age that's really beautiful. So I really learned from that movie.
Yeah. Well, I think it's such a documentation of, like you're saying, freedom and fabulousness and, you know, like liberty and all these amazing things. And it's documented and you can feel it when watching that movie, you know, so, but we can go on and on about that movie. It's amazing. Okay, so I saw you in Little Shop of Horrors, and that was the first time you'd done a play in a while, right?
Yes.
So
actually a long time, yeah.
Yeah, and what was like, was it grueling for you, or what was the whole experience? And to be honest, I went, and you were the one, you know, like you were the star that was selling the tickets, like your name, you know, that kind of thing. So was there a certain, like a different kind of pressure? Because it was like, they were billing it as like MJ's show, not Little Shop of Horrors. You know what I'm saying? So was it kind of pressure, or what was that whole experience like for you?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Damon. I didn't see a lot of pressure. I didn't take a lot of pressure. I love what I do. I love acting. I love singing, and I used to do a lot of musical theater before I was even, you know, accepted into the film and television realm, and even the music realm. Musical theater placed a opened the space for me to feel comfortable just within the arts. So that time that I did Rent, it really trained me how to do 8 shows a week. You know, so when I did Little Shop of Horror, there was really no pressure. I was really happy to do it, and anything I do, I'm always happy to do. You know, the pressure comes when I feel like I'm not prepared enough. You know what I mean? But when it comes to my work, I always try to stay as prepared as I can because I want to give the best package deal that I can to the people that are watching. I don't want to cheat them from it. So when I went into it, I was excited. I was excited.
Yeah. I was excited for you. It's because the first time I had seen you in that regard. So it was fun for me. So, okay. So, you know, I've been at many events, like you've been so Post comes out, you guys become pretty much, not overnight stars, but pretty much overnight stars. I've been listen, you were at the Emmys. I was at the Essence event. You guys got, you know, honored, the GLAAD event, you guys got, you could be getting all these honors. You know, it is truly an amazing thing. I remember that's one of the first things I thought about Post, an all trans cast. Wow, that's really something special and new and unique. And I think you guys kind of set the standard now where going forward, it'll always be that way. So, you know, in that way, the show itself, I mean, the show's groundbreaking for many reasons, but all trans cast is, you know, literally changed the history of entertainment, you know. So, you know, you guys got, you know, recognized for many, many things, and you all became famous, basically. So, how has that been? Like, you know, do you accept that about yourself, or, you know, how do you feel about that?
As far as what, like the overnight
thing?
thing?
You know, you're a well-known person now, you know, and you weren't, when I met you, you necessarily weren't, and now you are. So, you mean, so. Yeah,
I mean, I
take listen, sorry to cut you off. We've talked about it many times. I've been in your ear the entire time. You know that. You mean?
This is true. This is true. You have been, and like I say to everyone, he has been very, very instrumental. But yeah, I mean, I just take it one day at a time. I don't try to. I humble myself every single day. I try my best to keep humility in my heart. And I also just try to stay diligent on what I want to do and what I want to focus on when it comes to acting, film, philanthropy, music, the things that I love to do. And it may sound like a lot, but trust and believe MJ is focusing on one thing and trying to also make it happen. But yeah, I just try to make sure I ground myself every single day, because I don't want any of those ideas or thoughts of fame to ever get to my head, because I don't think it should ever get to anyone's head, you know, because to be quite honestly, there is a responsibility that not only I hold, but a lot of people who are in my position hold. And I feel like they have to keep themselves grounded to know that there's work that needs to be laid down. So for me, yes, I am a celebrity. And yeah, I do live for it, but only because I know that there are beautiful people out there who need inspiration, but in the right way, and what we can do as a group of humans, not just for, like, you know, some clout situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, also, you know, the reality is, you know, as you're talking, I'm thinking, you're not an easily distracted person. I love that about you. You are particularly focused and do not get, like, you don't do this. You kind of stay like this, which is really amazing quality. Like, a lot of people don't have that. And also, in a lot of ways, you are a vessel. Like, your art is a vessel coming through you in a lot of ways, you know? So, you know, you think about it that way. But, like, getting back to the original question, you are famous now, girl. So what was, like, what's a moment where you kind of gagged and you were like, oh my gosh, like something, a fame related, like you met, I don't know, you know, Jane Fonda or something. When have you gagged recently in the past 6 months or year?
Oh, it's just, 6 months. Because I mean, you know, we've been in quarantine for about 3 months. So
well, no, whatever. And, you know, something for the past year or two. I don't know. Tell me, you know.
Okay, so I know the first moment I felt like, oh my God, this is possibly really happening. And it was already happening, but I was psyching myself out. I was in complete denial. It's when I saw my face on a billboard. And I saw mine, India's, and Dominique's just being like it was just showing each and every one of us. And I was like, oh my God. And then I remember recording it and just like saying in the video, Mommy, I made it. Yeah. And yeah, that was like the pinnacle of it all. That was the first time I saw that, wow, my life is going to change.
Amazing.
For the better, obviously, but like it's going to change, and I'm really happy about it.
Good. Well, I have to say, you know, you are an extremely grounded person. Shout out to your upbringing again, you are really grounded, and you don't obviously let, like I said, distractions, which fame being one of them, kind of get to you. You're just a really focused person now, kind of just realizing right now, you do not get distracted easily. That's great.
I can't.
Well, a lot of people can, is my point. It's really common. People do. People get distracted. People believe their own hype and all that stuff, and you don't do any of that. And to be honest, you're focused on, like you said, there are lots of people that need to hear your voice, and you're focused on, being vocal about things, and, I love that about you. I do want to talk about disclosure. I think, I've talked about it many times on here. I think Disclosure is a movie that should be shown in schools. I've said that many. 13th and Disclosure should be shown in grade schools, 6th grade and up, or whatever, 6th grade. And I think you're in it, but I think in general, it's an important film that everyone could learn from. A lot of people could learn from. But it's interesting because when I saw it, or what is your takeaway from Disclosure? Yours first.
My takeaway from Disclosure was just literally fundamental educations about how trans lives are taken for granted when it comes to the film and television industry, and how our existence is equated with demasculation.
Yep.
And it's not. We're actually quite different from, and when I say quite, I mean extremely different from what many used to do back in the day. And I think it's just something that a lot of individuals need to see, especially like you said, kids in grade school and in education realms. They need this because if they don't have the education, if they don't have the vocabulary to even have a conversation with a woman like myself, then they're going to just spew a lot of things that they don't know.
Well, I learned from the film myself. I like to think that I'm very, I know a lot, I think, about the trans community and things like that. I learned a lot watching the film. And so I think it's just really an important film, and there's nothing wrong with learning, there's nothing wrong with knowledge is power, obviously. So it's just a really important film. Yeah.
It's so funny too, Damon. I feel like a lot of people think that, when we as trans women, when I say we, I'm talking about a lot of women out there who are really vocal there, because there's many more women other than myself who really, really speak out. And I can list a gamut, but I encourage everyone to do the research because I post as much as I can. And one of the individuals who's gender nonconforming, India Moore, is also that. But I think people have this idea of how every single last one of us is supposed to present or act or be. And there are some people outside of our community, and there are some people within our community. What I realize is that humans are humans, and that there are some people who are not educated at all, and that we just have to constantly educate them. And if they are not willing to be educated, that means they're forcefully or thoughtfully trying to hurt. So instead of trying to remedy that space, you disengage, whether it be forever or whether it be for time and space where that person is ready to come back to actually have the conversation with you. I can't tell you how many times there have been people who I've seen, even in comment sections, who would argue me down about something that we should probably even be having a private conversation about.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is not the space to do that. What we need to do is focus on our human race and get it together. But some people can't let that go. Some people are very focused on one thing.
Well, I'm not a fan of arguing with people on social media at all. And listen, first of all, you're from a private account saying negative things. I'm good. I'm good. You have 26 followers and you have a private account. I'm good. Okay. So I didn't want to get too heavy, but I want to talk about the Black Trans Lives Matter movement and what's going on, I guess, right now in the last couple of months. You and I have talked about it as well. I think that the protest that was in Brooklyn, I think, was amazing. That it was that to me was I thought really special, and I think that maybe you might want to talk about it a bit more, but I think that I like the Black Trans Lives Matter movement that's happening right now. I think I'm optimistic about it. I feel that it is garnering some attention and things, but you may want to speak more about that.
I think it's beautiful. I think we should never be left out of a situation when it pertains to our melanin. I mean, granted, yes, we have differences in how we're treated, but also there are similarities, which is that our lives are always at stake. And the most unfortunate fact is that our lives as trans Black women are being taken by our own Black brothers. And we're trying our best to make sure that that is released a little bit so that the community itself can really replenish and heal itself. Because, I mean, let's be very honest, being a woman who is African-American and trans, that itself has made me feel some type of oppression and feeling like I have to fight, where there are certain individuals who are not allotted that. And sometimes the greatest oppressors can oppress, you know, like, so the only way we can fix that is if we start, or if we constantly be vocal and letting people know that our lives are extremely important and our lives are no different than yours, because we share the same fight. We have a different journey, but we share the same fight. It's going to take a while because there are a lot of people who do not want that. And like I said, you have to really search and look at them to know how to disengage and really find your joy, and knowing that you have a goal to make sure that there is peace in an even plane. But if that person's not for even plane, even if it's one of your brothers, you have to disengage. They'll come around, hopefully. And if they don't, you have to just leave them alone. It's just that simple. So with Black trans lives, I encourage it constantly, because the moment we stop, there are going to be people who are training even their children to not even have a conversation with us, because they'll think that we're trying to quote unquote change their mind or have an agenda. Nobody has an agenda, child. There's no agenda. If there is any agenda with some of us, and I'll speak for myself, my agenda is for the human race. And it just so happens the trickle effect of human race is racial problems. And what we're dealing with right now is Black Lives Matter. And who else could speak up, because we fight constantly for our community, are Black trans women. So like, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And until we release those things, then we can really worry about the bigger picture, which is the human race, and how we have to really focus on the other things, which we could talk about for forever. But
well, you know, like I said, I think, you know, there's a part of me that thinks, you know, I think I was really so happy with that protest that happened in Brooklyn. It was 15,000. Why are you laughing?
Because I just saw a comment and somebody keeps saying deliver, and I live for it, because I did that when I was so young, and I'm like, yes, it was so funny. Sorry.
Yeah, just basically you know, I think that protest in Brooklyn kind of sparked some optimism in me that hadn't been there prior, you know, in a great way. So, and I think, you know, and again, after seeing Disclosure, I think if you see, things have moved in a short period of time, you know, in the last 10 years or something, things have moved really quickly. You know, if you watch something like 13th versus, you know, Disclosure, things have moved really quickly. You know, so with Pose being a major part of moving the needle. So, you know,
I'm really happy with the industry and what, I'm really happy with what the industry is doing at this time, because they're now moving forward. They're really trying their best to make the changes that they can.
And quickly, and very quickly, I think.
Very quickly.
Yeah, so.
Quickly than a lot of you may think.
Yeah. Okay, so you are not a singer, you are a sanger. So, you know, I think when I look at you, you're a great actress, but to me, I feel like you're almost more of a singer in a lot of ways. Or I think maybe something about you, your heart is in singing so much, and I know that. How do you see yourself in the next like 10 years, let's say, as a singer? You know, how do you see that unveiling?
I see that unveiling really, really well. I see me having a pretty good singing career. I see myself juggling my acting career and my music career quite well.
Yeah.
It's good. It's strenuous. It's hard, but it's worth it all, because beautiful things come out of it. And I see about 5 years down the line me having, I would say maybe, hopefully, this is optimistically speaking, but hopefully having, you know, maybe one EP out, one album, or 2 albums out, and probably trying to work on the 3rd album. That's what I see myself in 5 years, while juggling, you know, keeping up with
Now, in an ideal world, your music style is going to be what? Like pop music? I see it kind of like, you know, I almost see it like the style of a modern Whitney Houston musically. What music, in an ideal world, what's your musical style?
Well, see, in my ideal world, if I were living like, you know, back in the day, back in the day, it would just simply just be R&B.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I'm a music head. I love all music, and I love to incorporate everything. And I
Yeah.
also know that pop means popular, so it doesn't matter if it's rap. It don't matter if it's R&B. It doesn't matter if it's neo soul. It doesn't matter if it's country. If it's pop, that means it's popular, and that means it's appealing to everyone. So I see myself being a pop R&B artist. And no matter the style, I just hope that people really listen to it, because, you know, some people, they'll get a taste of something and they say they may not like it, but if you play it a good amount of times, it gets into your rhythm. So hopefully what I put out there, hopefully it gets, you know, into y'all bodies, and I can make y'all move a bit.
Who do you like? Is there anyone you like right now? It could be an older,
Yes.
you know, it could be some. Okay. Go.
Yeah. Chloe and Halle.
Oh, good.
Those
Yep.
girls are showing out.
Good.
Beyonce, you did an amazing job with those girls. Mama,
Yes.
the number one kudos goes to their mama, because they raised those girls right.
Yep.
And are really doing their thing out here. And I cannot wait until Halle slays in this new Disney's form of the live Ariel. Those girls are really, I have to commend them every single time. And I hope when I see them again, I'll let them know, because I remember letting them know the first time I saw them. But those girls, Summer Walker, I love her. She's an R&B pop girl, you know. Like,
Yeah, I love her too. You're right. She's great. Yeah.
Yeah, like there are a lot of artists that I listen to. Every single Doja Cat, the list can go on.
Yeah. Also, I saw that you're doing something with the Grammys on Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're speaking, right?
I'm presenting.
What is it exactly? Do you know? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to be presenting for an artist that I can't say.
Good, great. Well, that's great, you know, but maybe that's, you know, a prelude of what's to come, working with the Grammys. Maybe you'll do albums, start getting Grammy nominated, things like that. That's what I'm getting at.
I think I can hint that it's on its way.
Good. And then what have you kind of learned about yourself, let's say the last couple of months? I think I've learned about myself. We've all kind of like, you know, it's been no human has ever been through this before in life. So I feel like if you didn't learn something about yourself, you're, you know, empty on the inside. But like, you know, what have you learned about yourself, you know, just in general? Could be good, you know, what'd you learn?
I learned that even in this time of what we may consider disarray, there's joy that I can always find in something. Yep. And as much as I like to emotionally and mentally fight through protest, through speaking, there's also time for me to find peace and joy. Yep. And meditation has been my thing. I mean, I haven't done it every single day as of late. I usually do it every single day. I was doing it every single day, and then I started getting busy again. Yeah. But meditation has been key for me, because it keeps my mind centered, and it just keeps me focused on the reality, which is life. No,
100%. Meditation and prayer have been so instrumental for me personally, every single day of this. And my friends who are feeling anxious, I tell them all, do exactly that. And then some of them are on here right now, and they'll say, I'm feeling really anxious, and I'll tell them to do that. And the next day they say, I'm feeling really anxious. And did you do it? They say, no. I'm like, well, there you go. There's your answer. There's your answer right there.
Damon, I used to do that. I used to be the person that my best friend actually got me hooked. Ray Vaughn, he got me hooked onto it. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Never did it, and would still feel some type of like, rush, or like you said, anxiety. Once I started doing it, completely changed.
I don't know why people are so apprehensive about it. It's like pulling teeth to get people to do it, but it just balances your 100%, keeps you very balanced. That's what it does, you know. And I love it. So, and especially during this time, it's so important. So important. You mean?
It is so important. You know what it is? I feel like people, they don't believe the effects that it can have. I feel like it's too intimidating, and the reason why I say that is because I felt the same exact thing. I used to say, I just don't want to open too many doors right now. Like, my mind is a scatterbox, and I don't want my mind getting the best of me. And the reality is that a lot of people don't understand, especially people of color. Like, we have so much against us. Our mind can get the best of us all the time, and we need to clear our minds to really do what we have to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very important part of this whole process, and I can't stress it enough. Disclosure and meditation. Those are my two preaching moments.
Okay, here, disclosure and meditation.
So what's an ideal day, no COVID, an ideal day for MJ, a dream day for MJ? She wakes up, she does X, Y, and Z, does, this, that, and the other thing, could be performing on the Grammys. What would be your dream day?
Listen, my dream day, which I've been dreaming almost every single day, is like getting up in the morning, obviously brushing my teeth and washing my face and getting in the shower and all those other things. We have to let people know that because some people don't do that. And just getting in the car, headed to a photo shoot. Then after I'm done with the photo shoot, headed to a little interview talking about, what we can change in the world. Then going to like maybe even on set or going to a video shoot. That's like I love the hustle and bustle of when I'm in my work and when I'm just like doing what I know I need to do. I just feel like I have to constantly make sure that. And then
coming to my party at the end of the night.
Oh, work, yes, because that's always the situation. Because I remember that day after I finished shooting, I came right to your party and we lived.
And then so what do you want people to kind of like your legacy? I've been really focusing on legacy a lot. What would you like to be? I guess either now or in 20 years from now. What would you like people to say about MJ Rodriguez? Legacy-wise, like she is.
And I mean, versus she is, I want people to know that I did. Like I want them to look at me and know that I made a change in some shape or form. And I know that I was a part of that with Pose, but there's always change that can be made. I mean, we don't know the future, so I just don't know how I'm going to be a part of it in that way, but I want to be a part of it in a positive way. That's what I want my legacy to be. I want people to know that I was always trying to strive or either did strive at any goal that I had when it comes to making sure that the human race is fulfilled, that they're okay, that there is a vision to look towards. Because I did it, you can do it. I'm just because I'm in a place of having a status as a celebrity doesn't mean you can't work to do it. That doesn't mean if you're not a celebrity doesn't mean you can't make that shift in your life. It doesn't equate you differently as a normal person or a celebrity. No, we're just humans and we have the allotted opportunity to do whatever we want to do. Some people are happy where they're at. Some people love being, chill and relaxed. Some people like being out there. That's the reality, and I just want people to know that I strive to make sure people can feel comfortable and not feel just ostracized or just like an outsider person.
Well, I've been with you many times. I see fans come up to you that kind of what you just said, they say to you already. So, I think you really represent something that people, basically what you just said. I've seen you kind of spend the time talking to fans for a long time sometimes.
I do.
20 minutes later, but it's part of that's part of your charm. You're such a warm, wonderful person. So, you are already doing that, just so you know. Anything else before we wrap it up that you want to talk about or say?
That's been a whole hour?
That's what I'm saying. I knew it was going to go by quick. I told you. She texted me today, how long is the thing? I said an hour. I said, but you and me are probably going to be 3 hours. I told you it's going to go by quick. So
you did say that. You surely did.
Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
I just want to say I love you and I thank you for having me come on here and just chat. Granted, we have our private life, but it's always good to just let people see the beauty in our friendship because not a lot of people get to see that. And I just love you. I
love you too, and I thank you for doing this. I do want to say that you are such a warm, kind, wonderful, well-rounded, articulate. And, really, really, really old soul. I've always said that about you. You're an old soul, but you're so warm to humans. You're just warm to humans in general. You also make me feel kind of warm and fuzzy. You're one of those people. So, I just really think you're a great person. You have such a great head on your shoulders. You have, we've talked, it became obvious during this, fame has not affected your head at all in a great way. You're really focused on what's important, your art and, having a voice, and that's all that really matters. And good for you. I'm really proud of you. I think your mom is amazing. I think that you're such a special woman, and I love you. You know that. You love me very much. You are like in your 20s, but you act like you're in your 70s. But other than that,
I sure really do.
Other than that, you are
You
perfect.
can call me on it, because honey, there's some days where I'm just like, I'm tired, and you're like, girl, you are too young to be feeling tired. Get your ass.
No, you are perfect. Besides that, you're perfect. So.
Thank you.
Well, I love you. Obviously, anything I can do to help you in any way, and just really happy and proud of you, and can't wait to see you. Can't wait to make you come to one of my parties soon. So.
I'm down. I'm down for it. I might be sneaking out over there pretty soon. So just
you'll come for 20 minutes, but you'll come. You're loyal. You're not long, but you're loyal. How about that? So. All right, my darling. Thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate you doing this. You be well. Bye.
You too.
Love you.